Look at that. So here we are, finally live, and we're about to bitch about everything that is not working correctly. Here. Welcome back, Girls and Boys, to the channel. Today, we're going to be having this discussion related to what going to happen to good music. Totally not related to the other show we got on the other channel that you should be subscribed to, by the way, which is called Music That Doesn't Suck. And it's a show in which we talk about music that actually doesn't suck. But today we're not going to be talking about music that doesn't suck. We're going to be talking about what happened to it. Where is it? Did it die through that? Is it possible for people to find new music and that actually doesn't suck? And if that's the case, where to find it? Okay. So, with that being said, let me introduce you to Stunning Brave, and I got myself tan beautiful. Everybody, say hello to girls and boys. Look at that.
Hello, girls and boys. How's it going?
So Stunning and Brave.
Brave, and from time to time beautiful as well. It is said.
It is said.
On the right circles.
It is as written on the last Dead Sea what's the name? Scrolls.
Yeah.
So yes. So first and foremost, why did we get to this premise for this conversation?
We got to, yes, not exactly. Do you have something specific in mind? A moment?
Yes, I do, because we were discussing, we were talking about the Zoomers and how they were deprived of live music for a good chunk of time. I don't know if you remember something that happened like 5 years ago, kind of funny. Yeah. That kind of put the whole world on its knees.
On hold.
We're talking about, of course, the COVID debacle. And how well it changed the lives of many people. The thing is that people who were adults at that point, it's only a memory. But for people who grew up being a teenager during those days, they actually lost the chance to experience many of the things that you experience when you're a teenager. And one of them is attending to concerts, being part of the audience to local bands. Yeah,
even on the more scale, it doesn't even need to be concerts, but just going to bars, just hanging out, basically.
Hanging out in a not terribly unhealthy way.
Yeah.
And that it's a very important part of the development of any individual. And we are talking about an entire generation, if it's not even more than one, that got deprived of that particular experience. And a good chunk of what makes a teenager, what makes a band successful, it's the support of the young population of its current of its area. Because think about Kiss Army, which is the biggest fan club I think in the world.
No, it still is, but it was for a while.
It was for a while, and for good reason. And Kiss developed their reputation. It developed the gigantic status that they got now, thanks to the efforts of those guys who, at the time, were teenagers supporting their local act.
Yeah.
And since we removed an entire generation from that equation, what happened to all of those bands? They are gone. Yeah. And a good chunk of the bands that we were actually one of the casualties of that particular occurrence. We were quite active before 2020. We were talking about live performances and stuff.
Yeah.
And plenty of the people that we met throughout those years and being active on the road, the vast majority of them quit. I can see why.
Yeah, the thing is that the industry itself changed shape in a way, because the phenomenon that you're describing about the teenagers and that whole category and age group of people were supposed to be and used to be for the longest of times the ones that set the trends or set the ball rolling of which would be the up and coming acts.
The life and blood.
They were the life and blood of the industry to some degree. And since that got changed in one single stroke, the industry didn't really have time to adapt. And I'm talking the industry now from the perspective of the bands themselves.
Agreed.
And that's why it's really hard to pinpoint or even to find one act that popped up in the last 10 years, let's say, and made a dent in the industry as a whole.
And look, this is actually a good point of conversation that we can have between you guys and us.
Yeah, and now even talking about that, to bring a comment here, because we have Harry Maya commenting. How's it going? He said, hello, hope you're good. We're good. Good to have you here.
We're trying our best.
Yeah, and saying here, I totally agree with you both. I feel like music nowadays sounds lifeless. I don't know if it's just me feeling like this. I guess not.
No, you're not alone on that one, man. Yeah. And look, one of the problems that we got here, musically speaking, is that we have discussed it several times, so I'm going to bring it back because I think it's one of the biggest problems from a cultural perspective. Besides the whole business side of things, we are facing this homogenization, for like, I don't know how to say the word. You know what I mean? It's the
homogenization.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Webster's dictionary. Yeah, but we're seeing a very cookie cutter, for a lack of a better term, and using more colloquial English, kind of manufacturing of music, and it's due to the fact that we have to deal with many factors. The first one is, of course, the democratization of the tools that allows for music to be produced. We're talking about computers and stuff, which is a blessing in disguise. It has plenty of good and bad things, but that's not the core of this conversation, but it's something that has to be addressed. But also we got the destruction of the mid-band, the mid-tier band that we discussed last week. And this, I think, is the most damaging of aspects. Because nowadays, since we lost that entire generation that would have pushed new ideas, new sounds, or the continuation of the good stuff and the continuous development and evolution of the good stuff, nobody's taking risks anymore. That's a huge problem. And if we are in this discussion, it would be great if you happen to share some suggestions of bands that are good and that actually doesn't suck for anybody watching. And especially for us, because I've been in this business of producing bands for the entirety of my life, and some of them, no, I'm not going to say that any of those bands were bad. I simply would say that none of them, necessarily speaking, were appealing to my own style of music. But I know for a fact that there is good music being produced.
Yeah, which takes us to the core of this conversation, because do you truly think, and this is something that you hear around quite a lot, is good music truly dead?
I think it's not dead, but it's in an undead status. I don't know if that makes sense. Let me elaborate. I think that music is undead right now because, in one hand, it's very difficult to find good stuff because of how crowded the streaming services, which is probably the only streaming services and social media, are probably the best ways for people to discover new stuff.
I'd say not the best, but
not the best, but it's the biggest. Good point, because it's not the best due to the oversaturation of content. If we analyze it from the perspective of Instagram alone, you're fighting not only with other musicians if you're posting your stuff there, also with hot babes, also with guys doing stunts, cars, everything.
Gimmicks of all sorts.
So you are not only, since music is partially entertainment besides being artistic, it's also entertainment to a certain degree. You're competing for the same spots that other forms of entertainment, which are much more successful, which are much more effective on those particular social medias, will always trump over you. Being a musician. But let's say that there is a chance for you to be found. What would you do if the only thing that you find out of a band, an up-and-coming band, that gets you quite excited to discover, and you're sharing it with everybody you know and everything, to discover that those guys stopped working in 2018. Their last album was released in 2018. Would you still be supporting a band that seems that they're done for? They had that chance, they only had that effort, and in reality, well, they couldn't survive the current climate.
Hypothetically speaking,
I'm talking about us. No, but it's actually what happened to us.
No, because the thing is that we are a representation of a way larger phenomenon. Because this that we're talking about here, we end up falling into this category as well. But there are many more that are going through the same or something very similar.
Yeah, the only thing that set us apart from other acts is the fact that I had this music production business as a support, some form of a cushion, if you wish. But we are lucky in that one, and we are blessed on that regard. But not everybody has access to the same chances.
Yeah, and just going back here to Jeremiah, saying here, I really like some not very known bands just because they sound authentic and original.
Good.
That should be more commonplace. Unfortunately, not many people do this. I'm happy that you do, and I will be also very happy if you could share some of those with us.
Yeah, please do, because it's always great to find new music and be able to share with more people. Actually, it would be nice if I can even react or analyze one of our tracks, one of our tracks on their channel. And
look,
go ahead.
using the hook that was introduced here, the culture of finding new music, that's also something that changed very dramatically.
It's lost.
Is lost basically because now with the whole being social medias and streaming services, the biggest means for distribution of music nowadays, the way that those work when it comes to prompting music is never favoring the new stuff.
Exactly. That's the reason why I mentioned that I find the whole musical aspect of our culture to be in and on that kind of status, because it's held by the legacy acts that are no longer, some of them are not active, and they haven't been active probably for the last 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
Or we're simply being shown music that was produced by bands that are no longer active. So it's basically just a mirage, if you wish.
Yeah.
You are not actually dealing with a vibrant and active music scene anymore.
Yeah.
We're dealing with wherever remains of it.
Yeah, but the thing that you mentioned about how the consumption of music in the context of social media, let's say, changed the perception, the overall perception of music making as well. Not music making, of music.
Yeah.
Because since the whole thing that you mentioned about music competing for a space that's not necessarily just music oriented, you have entertainment of all sorts being there, you made music more... You created the need for music to become more entertaining than music was supposed to be.
Yes.
Because music is art, and art is made for you to feel things and to appreciate it. But it doesn't necessarily need to be entertaining.
No.
That can be an asset to music, but it doesn't necessarily need to be one aspect of music that's always going to be present.
100%.
And the thing is, once you get to a point where for your music to be seen, you need to add that entertainment element to it. Basically, what you're doing is skewing music making for it to be kind of working within boundaries of something that shouldn't be there to begin with.
I agree 100%. And you will stop making music for the sake of music's sake. You are making it out of in pursuit of the chance for it going viral.
Yeah.
And that's actually been what has been one of the biggest problems with modern music making. Look, being in this music production business for a while, I have also given lessons. That's where the whole, for those of you who know, one of the channels that we got here is me sharing with you some of my tricks that I learned doing this craft. And I have talked to people, and I have been like a teacher to certain degree to several music producers, and some of them have brought up the idea of how can you make it go viral on TikTok? What's the secret behind it? And that already shows you that even the mindset has changed, and I think totally for the worst.
Yeah.
Because now certain mind frame or certain how can I put it, doctrines are being promoted. Don't necessarily speaking promoted would be the right word to do, but they are propagated, which are promoting the idea of making music that will go viral. Because if you think about it, and I'm usually hearing those particular points from younger generations, you can also find some form of correlation with the advent of finding success on platforms such as TikTok, short form content. And that's actually affecting dramatically the way that music is being produced nowadays, from a metaphysical perspective, because the idiosyncrasy behind the creation of music is now being quite controlled or morphed, if you wish, by this need of perceived success on platforms. Because if you ask any kid nowadays, what would your dream job be? It's influencer of any form. Being a Twitch streamer, being a TikToker, being YouTube is not even in the list anymore, because YouTube requires way more work than the other two. And I'm not talking trash to anybody who is successful on those platforms. They did the right thing. They found a niche and they capitalized on it. And as a capitalist pig myself, I have nothing to do than tip in my proverbial fedora. But that doesn't mean that it's a good thing. Right?
Yeah, and there are many layers to this issue, because you're talking about one aspect of the social mediaization of music.
I would point, I like that term.
But there's more to it, because even the nature of social media and some more than others. Let's say TikTok's probably on the extreme end of this that I'm about to say, is that everything is fleeting by nature, because you can have your 15 minutes of fame, and of course some of the sensations, they end up lasting a little bit longer, but by the very nature of how the content is created and how the content is consumed, they are not meant to stick. They're meant to be replaced by the next one.
The next one. And that's what makes finding the good stuff hard. We got comments?
Yes, so continuing here, Harry Maya saying, don't know if you guys like it, but a band that I like very much is called Failure. I think it's a good one and could be a little bit more famous. They are grunge rock alternative band. They are known but not from the masses.
Okay.
Fantastic Planet from Failure is a fantastic album indeed.
Okay.
I particularly don't know them. I'll give it a shot.
Now you got me interested, and I will totally give it a try, because that sounds like it's not the stuff it's common nowadays.
Yeah.
That's actually good to hear. So I will totally give it a chance. And now, coming back to the main question, where is the good music now? Because it's impossible. Good music cannot be destroyed, it's only transferred. So it's not created nor destroyed, it's only transferred. The thing is that where could it be found? At this stage, let's first establish kind of a setting on how it used to be.
Okay, go for it.
Because back in the day, it was a style at the time that you actually would go to not even a concert hall, like the local pub, the local bar, on which one of the local bands would be performing, but you go there for the beer and the babes. And look at that, the band doesn't suck? That's actually, because it's always a gamble when you're talking about amateur musicians. It's always a gamble, and I'm not saying that in a condescending way. Because every single one of us had to suck at one point. You're learning the craft, you're learning how to do it. Of course, there will be a period in your career in which you're terrible. I used to be not terrible, it was under terrible. It was a disgrace. And I had nothing to complain about it or even try to hide it. Because it's normal, it's natural, you learn, you get better with experience. But let's say that you go there and the band is actually good, you enjoyed it. You write down the name.
Yeah.
Because the next time you see them performing, chances are you would go there just to support them.
Yeah.
And even meeting the guys and having that interaction. If you happen to be a fan of music, you would even go there and like, okay, how do you write your songs? Having this conversation, because that's fun. And it's kind of cool to have that interaction with a musician, particularly from the perspective of someone who is not a musician. I'm using my experience on what happened to me. Because I have always been the musician in this interaction.
Yeah.
But it's the stuff that they ask you that surprises you, because you think that it shouldn't be important, but people who appreciate music find it not only important, fascinating.
But look, there's an extra layer to this that we're talking about, which is the emotional connection of music in the context of memorable moments. Because now, since you don't have this scenario that you're painting, it's basically that. It still happens, but it's very rare nowadays, which was extremely commonplace. And you had the appreciation of music being created on a context where you would have fun, where you would have something nice going on, you would be out with your friends, and all of that baggage, all of that context,
those moments,
they played a role in your appreciation for the music. You created a connection to it.
Agreed.
And that expanded.
Yeah. And that's why it's so important for that to happen during your formative years. And that's the reason why I put so much emphasis at the beginning of this conversation with teenagers. Because those guys, the teenagers, are always the backbone of any successful musical act. That's a fact. It's not even my own conjectures. You can even go down in history and you will find that it used to be those groups of people, because when you're a teenager you're super enthusiastic, and also you have free time on your hands, and you are old enough to actually move around by your own to a certain extent, of course. So it's all of the factors that are needed for any successful act to have in order for it to become successful. You remove that from the equation. Plus the an extreme abuse of the use of social media, particularly by the alpha generation, whose interactions are mostly taking place online, for the vast majority of times, and even Zoomers and millennials to a certain degree.
Yeah.
They have been affected by the overuse of social media.
Yeah.
It's making the whole interaction kind of hard.
Yeah.
But that's on the live sphere. Coming back to the establishment of the point of the starting point of what we're going to be using to compare to what's happening now. You go there to the bar, you discover the band and everything. And let's go back, not even that long ago, let's go back to 2012. Great year. In that year, you could get the name of the band, following them on Facebook, because it was the style at the time, and you would be even eager to see when the next show would pop up.
Yep.
And then, since technology already allowed for an up-and-coming band record a record that didn't sound like S, that could be acceptable to good sounding, of course, you would be even surprised and happy to see that they finally managed to record those tracks that you liked and enjoyed live.
Yep.
And some bands actually started off their careers like that. I'm totally using my own personal experience on this one, because this is actually what happened to me. And not only me, several other musicians that I met across the world during those years.
Yeah.
There was a chance there was a chance for everyone if you put the effort and actually try to make your way in an overcrowded scene.
Yeah, and you could have an impact on people.
Yeah.
And the whole thing expanded from a point of resonance there.
Yeah.
Because you're kind of stemming from a small moment of being there live, seeing the band, but that exploded into something bigger and bigger with time.
With time.
Yeah.
And look, using once again my own experience, one thing that I learned the hard way was that I never took seriously social media. And that's the next segue. Where could we find them? It's social media. Nowadays it's social media, because we lost a lot of those venues that would allow a band of that caliber, because we're talking about a small independent band. Not necessarily not professional, but a small independent band.
Yeah.
Which still doesn't have the budget to pull off a huge stunt, and or is not backed up by a hedge fund that will allow them to go on a loss on bigger venues. That's how the business works anyway.
Yeah.
So it's a fact. So if you are such an act, your only chance now to be found is through social media. And I had the bad idea of never taking it seriously, because I never understood it. We even had this conversation this morning on how that has been probably one of the biggest mistakes in my entire life. Not look, it comes from the fact that I don't like to peacock, and I know it sounds weird coming from me, but in reality, I let my actions speak for me, rather than me speaking on behalf of my actions, if that makes sense to you. And that's honorable, and is the manly way to do things, but we don't live in a manly world.
Yeah,
and we live in a less than honorable world.
Yes.
So that was a mistake, and that has set me back several years in what could have been a different success. But I'm not complaining. It's understanding, and it's accepting and learning from those mistakes and pushing hard now that I understand.
Yeah.
The issue is that how many people are understanding that very principle today, after the debacle that we've been through in the last few years, because this is not only COVID. I don't want to keep bashing on COVID, but the downturn, economical downturn, that it's starting to hit everywhere in the world, and it's clearly the aftermath of all of the insanity that we lived through in those years. It's going to affect everybody.
Yes.
You got comment?
Yes. So once again, Jeremiah, do you guys think that we nowadays we're trying to do the best we can, and the excessive perfectionism is killing the music?
Oh, good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
It is.
Would you like to elaborate?
Yeah.
Because I have plenty of things to say.
So I can go first.
Yeah,
then.
go first.
Look, I think we're trying to become too perfect on the wrong things. Because I do think, because before attacking perfectionism, I'm gonna defend excellentism. Because I think the pursuit to be great should be commonplace. That shouldn't be something.
That's a fact.
That should be the way to go.
Yeah.
The thing is, I think nowadays it has become commonplace to put way too much effort and way too much time on the wrong things, or not necessarily the wrong things, but only on a portion of the whole. And as an example of that, I will use what we generally call the Instagram musician, which is usually the person who is extremely technical, which is very, very, very good when it comes to a technical proficiency, but that lacks basically everything else. And music, for as much as technique is required to make good music, or I wouldn't even say required, is usually a part of making good music. It's only a portion of the entire equation.
Yeah.
And if you focus all of your effort, all of your time on only that, you're going to be left with not a great result. So if you want to elaborate on your end, go for it.
Okay, look, I'm going to tackle this from the musician and the music producer. Okay, so first, I'm going to speak as a musician. One of the problems that I see with this insane pursuit of perfectionism is the lack of commitment to sounds. And I think this pursuit of perfectionism comes from lack of self-confidence. I think we're dealing with weak-minded musicians who have not enough balls, fortitude to commit to a sound and create something that is unique, because they don't feel that developing a sound and sticking to it will be the good one. Because they are leaving everything open. And I'm going to use an example. I'm going to go nerd in this one. But one of the most popular production techniques nowadays is reamping. And a reamp session would be like this. You record your guitar straight into the recorder. I'm not going to go deep into what a recorder is, but simply you record the sound of your guitar going into a device that will record the track with no effects whatsoever, no sounds. It's just the guitar sound. So like this. And then you're going to send it to a guy who will run it through an amplifier, microphone, the whole thing. Hopefully it's going to be done correctly. The issue is this. Do you think that Led Zeppelin did it that way? Do you think that the Beatles did it that way? Do you think that every single one of the great guys, Pink Floyd, all of the guitar tone gods, Eric Clapton, all of those badasses, no, they went there, they got to the studio, they were like, okay, this is the sound I got in my head, this is the sound I get in my from my amp. Let's make it happen. Let's make sure that it translates to vinyl. I want to be able to. I want to make sure that people will hear exactly what I did here, or as close as possible to in their houses. And that's why we are getting that problem, because I don't see perfectionism as a musician. I see lack of testicular fortitude. That's the first one. Now, as a music producer, I don't know, for those of you who are watching, who are not into the nerdy stuff, you can actually fix a poorly timed performance. You can push stuff around and make it sound perfect, to the grid, to the beat. Basically like electronic music. It's aesthetic for electronic music, that's okay. And even in electronic music, you try to add a little bit of shuffle, right? Making it less freaking robotic sounding. Okay, so, particularly in rock music, since they discovered that you can do that, everybody, and there was a period, and coming back to the early 2010s, everybody, and when I was in the business back then, making records and stuff, everybody wanted, the name of this technique is called quantization. Everybody wanted to quantize everything. So they wanted every single bit, particularly the metalcore guys. You won't believe how much. And even I had several discussions with them, because I can do it, no problem. The thing is that you claim yourself to be true, but you want your music to be more doctored than Katy Perry's latest record. So of course, but whatever, we follow aesthetic, I stick to it, but just be frank with yourself, and I have no issues with it. So that perfectionism makes music boring, and the reason why I always try to have that conversation before we commit to that sound, it's because there is no originality to that. Because not only that, for those of you who know, you can also replace the freaking sound of each of the hits on the drum kit. And why? Because it sounds more polished. And that means, well, that band did it, and it sounds polished, I'll do it as well. And then multiply that by a few millions, everybody sounds polished, boring, formulaic, and totally repetitive. Period.
Look, the formulaic, you even just mentioned the word formulaic, which takes us to a different side of this as well.
Your comments as well.
So, Robbie Michaels, hello Robbie. Good evening, gents. Late to the party tonight. I'm just getting into the chat. Hope all is well. All is going.
Well, I'm already pissed.
Yeah, and it's good to have you here.
Pissed off, not pissed.
But look, the whole thing about formulaic, another aspect of the whole pursuit for perfection. Because I think another way that this look for perfection manifests is in the way that perfection counterpoints to experimentation.
Yes.
we stopped going for let's see, and we just okay, this works, let's do more of this. All of the great acts that you mentioned, all of the legendary acts, your Led Zeppelins, your Beatles, everything that you mentioned, and all of the others that you're now thinking about, they became what they became because they were doing their thing.
Yes.
Whatever that was.
Yes.
Some of it worked, some of it didn't. For the great acts, a lot of it did, but it was because they were trying something that was a representation of who they were.
Yes.
And by definition, we as individuals are different. So you won't get something that is the same as everything else if you're acting upon your own individual basis.
Mm-hmm.
So a big layer of what turned music what we know it nowadays is trying to pursue what works and the whole formulaic aspect of music making rather than doing what you feel like you should be doing.
Yes, agreed. And look, one more thing when it comes to talking about the old acts. They weren't perfect. So when they tried stuff and they committed to sounds, if it didn't work, they will go back and fix it. Because they had the balls to recognize that it didn't work. We made a mistake, let's do it again. And it's something that nowadays you don't see happening. And that's one of the reasons why music sounds formulaic, boring, and almost detestable. But
Yeah.
we haven't answered the question. Where did it go?
Okay, it went to the silence.
Where do we go now?
Look, I think good music, coming back
Guns N'
to
Roses
the center, yes, to the center of this conversation. Good music is not lost forever,
No.
but I think it has been thrown to the sidelines.
Yep.
Because if you're only looking for good music, if you're not looking for good music, you're expecting for it to fall on your lap, that's not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen.
So that's first thing to acknowledge. Because if you're just gonna be waiting for you to hear something good on the radio, you're gonna keep waiting.
Yeah, because the thing is that I think we are big enough as we're adults already, so we can recognize that a good chunk of the business. Well, it's a business, right? So there is a good level of payola, which is pay to win, and it's been the case since forever. So stop trying to convince yourself that it's only based on merit and stuff. It's not like that.
It never has been.
It never has been. There is merit, of course there is, but it is not necessarily the norm. Okay. But I'm not also saying that you need money to succeed. No, there have been plenty of examples. The first one is, do you remember that girl, Rebecca Black? It's like, man, it was a meme before the internet was a thing. Like Friday, girl. That girl is clearly the daughter of a very rich guy and pushed and tried to be a thing, and it backfired because no talent, no merit, no nothing. It's obviously gonna fail, and it did. But it became a meme, and now she's kind of famous now. But
but for the wrong reasons.
For the wrong reasons. But she got it. She got it, and respect to that. Okay. And she was also a kid, man. She was very young. She was a teenager, so whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. But the thing is that I'm kind of glad for what I'm about to say, because I see some form of resurgence in the way that independent musicians, not based on the music itself, okay? Because I already exposed some of the bad things that are happening when it comes to the quality of music, of new music. But the scene at a very small level, very, very, very grassroots level, is starting to become a thing again. Not coming from me. I've been doing, for those of you who have been watching this particular show for the last few weeks, I've been doing some research on understanding, and I want to see actually what's going on with Gen Z. Why? Because it's the target demographic, first and foremost, due to be some magnificent thing when it comes to analyzing people and the details behind them. And it's the machine is throwing at us that Zoomers is a good chunk of our demographic. I know that we got Gen Xers as well here, and it's actually both of you. It's Zoomers and Gen Xers.
And so, there are good philosophical, metaphysical reasons for it.
Yeah, because both of those generations have many things in common. But I understand Gen X. I don't understand Zoomers yet. But I'm starting to get it quite a lot. And that's something that I recommend any single band to do, because with social media you can actually have access to demographics. See what demographics actually resonate with your stuff, and learn their lingo, understand their worldview, be part of their zeitgeist. But one thing that I see happening quite often is that Zoomers, and I'm talking about 20-something guys, okay? guys and gals, they are discovering and rediscovering the dingy, smelly, poorly mixed live show in a dingy, smelly, and questionable bar.
That you more than likely shouldn't be at.
No, they should, because that's a place that I want my kids to be rather than being in a freaking nightclub. Being frank.
Yeah.
Because at least I know that there is just people like them, dorks.
Yeah.
And I don't have kids, by the way, but but in the hypothetical case, because that's where life experience happens, and it's what you said, and it's very invigorating to see that there are plenty of videos of these guys giving. Even I watched an essay on this guy being fascinated by what happens when you go to a live show and see people playing music live. But not in a dumb or stupid way. No. He was
He was moved by it. Yeah.
And I was trying to think, why would you come to that conclusion? The guy who made the video looked like 21 years old. So of course, man.
Yeah.
When COVID happened, you were 16. You should have been there.
Yeah.
And that experience that you're sharing to the world, it's exactly what every single one of us who had a less terrible upbringing experienced back then.
Yeah.
And we didn't have the need to share it with the world, because first we didn't have the internet, and secondly, it was so normal, it was so natural to everybody that you didn't see that as a big deal.
Yeah.
You saw it and it was a big deal for you. But the fact that this guy was sharing that with the world, plenty of views, actually several, racking more views that we haven't ever got in this channel.
Yeah.
Why? That's exactly the question. Why? Because he was speaking to his audience.
Yeah.
I read several of the comments, and all of them coming from different parts of the world, describing something similar. Like,
it was creating a resonance with people. Yes.
So if you wanted to be hopeful, I can't believe it's coming from me, but
you got reason for it.
You got reason for it.
Yeah.
The thing is, now your job is to be found by them. As Thiago said before, it's not about the algorithm. If you're waiting for the algorithm to show you to the right people, nah, man, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
You gotta find your way in.
Yeah, and I'm now, because when I made that
You
comment,
got comments, by the way.
Yeah, I will tackle them.
Yes.
But just so I don't lose the train of thought here, when I made that comment about how music's not gonna fall on your lap, good music, from the perspective of the listener, you need to be active in pursuing it, and from the perspective of the music makers, you need to make yourself found. Because you're not gonna simply fall on anybody's lap as well.
No.
So you need to learn the tools of the trade, the modern tools of the trade.
Yes.
Because this is a way to be found. Then how? That's a whole different kind of worms.
And if you can use this channel as an example, actually, because we're testing the water.
Yeah.
Because we saw the writing on the wall. And we don't know what to do. There's no handbook on how to make it as a musician on 2025 using YouTube as the platform of choice.
Probably that is, but it's gonna
it's written by us right now. No, it's written by us and every single one who is like us that is doing their part. So addressing the comments.
Okay, a few of the comments were burned already, so I'm gonna read what I see here. Okay, so go. Can you bring the mouses over here, please?
I will.
Okay,
That's
so
better.
First, Robbie, may I suggest that music has taken one step forward but two steps back? I've been thinking about this with the DAW, Digital Audio Workstation, that allows you to record hundreds of tracks. The Beatles had 4 tracks to play with.
And look at that.
Yeah. And look at what they did with 4 tracks.
Yes.
Okay, moving on.
Good point. But let me address that one.
Okay.
I know that we have plenty to go over, so I'm going to try to be brief in this one.
Go.
You're correct, and once again, it's this amount of choices or these amounts of possibilities, instead of becoming something that should inspire you, is now a detracting factor. Is making people unable to make decisions.
Yeah.
Because let's keep adding. How about if you make it good?
Imagine that.
Before you keep adding stuff, why have you tried making it good?
And look, limitations and constraints are basically the ground, the fertile soil for creativity.
Agree.
You need those, because that's how you start thinking of new solutions and new way to tackle things.
Yes.
The fact that we have access to everything and more makes us lazy, basically, because we don't have to come up with solutions, we don't have to come up with new ideas. Everything has been done, and we don't even need to think about it.
Agree.
Okay, moving on. I think Meshuga. I think it was one when we were talking about being way too perfect on the grid and stuff.
Yeah.
They're not bad, but,
No, but
I totally get what you mean.
But is their sound?
Yeah.
Is their sound? And that one, but it's exactly that.
And he's saying that they're good, but I find them boring. And
Yeah,
honestly, I'm with you there.
Me too.
I'm with you there.
I have huge respect, but not like my band.
Actually, that was before. I'm making a mess of the order. No issue. Hermetics, for example, Sabrina Carpenter.
Oh, look at that!
I heard her new album and I felt absolutely nothing. It's indeed perfect.
It is.
I can see it. I haven't heard it, but I can see it being perfect.
It is.
Sounds perfect, but how come something that sounds so good cannot touch me? That's the question.
Well, we even have a short released today.
Yeah.
From a previous conversation here, on which we're saying, dude, I have never heard, spend any time, or watch any content related to Sabrina Carpenter, and she appears everywhere on my feed.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
She's being pushed
Totally
strongly.
astroturfed.
But look, what you're mentioning here is that you're listening to music as someone who enjoys music
And loves it.
and loves music. And your pursuit for music is in how can this move me?
Mm-hmm.
That's how music should be listened to. You're correct.
You're correct.
But sadly, most people don't necessarily listen to music like that.
Actually, you have a good term for it, right? It's the background noise.
It's like background noise. Music is being part of a content. You don't sit to listen to music. When we bought CDs, and before that when we had vinyl, listening to music was a moment. You dedicated that portion of your time to listening to music.
It was ceremony.
It was a ceremony, and that is because you valued music to that degree, and that fostered even more value for music.
100%.
That's not how it goes nowadays.
100%.
You listen to music while you're doing your chores. You listen to music while you're browsing through the internet.
That freaking channel that also been astroturfed into oblivion, the lo-fi thing.
Yes.
God damn it. So continue.
So this that you're describing is also a symptom of how music's consumed nowadays.
Yeah.
And you're on the right of it, but many people aren't.
You're not crazy, man.
Well, look, he continues here. Is this soul that is in there, and I really like pop music. I'm not attacking it.
No, I get you.
Yeah.
I get you. Look, last week I re-released, because I know that you've been part of the channel for a while. I re-released on the new channel my analysis to Poison Arrow by ABC. Great pop record, one of the best. Not only best pop as music, but also, man, the sound is fantastic.
Yeah.
God damn, that thing sounds like $1 million, because it probably was. They spent $3 million on it, but it's. No, man, it's great pop music, and it's the kind of stuff that you don't see anymore, because there is heart, there is soul, and even though it's catchy as all balls, god damn it, it's great music.
Do I even need to mention Michael Jackson?
Michael Jackson. Even early Madonna is good.
It's completely different from late Madonna.
With Madonna, we don't talk about it. Yeah.
The thing is, what you mentioned, it has no soul, and that's how I feel about it as well, because it's all there from a very cold, objective perspective. It's all there. It's properly mixed. It's properly produced.
Even better than before.
Yeah, but it doesn't have anything for you to resonate with.
Yeah, and look, trying to avoid going the studio rat hole. It's not because they have lesser gear. It's not because, no, of course they have better gear than ever. It's not about that. It's more on the side of the audience themselves has lost the grasp of what good sounding and good music actually is. For the masses, and let's be honest with ourselves, don't you find funny that everybody could say like, man, this band should be more popular because they are that good? Why do we all have the same comment? Why do we all say the same?
Yeah.
It's
Such an underrated band.
Yeah. Oh, they should be. They deserve more success than they ever got.
Yeah.
It's because the masses don't appreciate that much the value on good music. That's a fact. Why is that? That's cultural. It has nothing to do with the quality of music. And just look around and open the window and tell me what you see, because don't tell me that the popular music nowadays, I'm not talking about pop, okay? Where is popular? Do they even have lyrics? Is there even some form of musicality to them? Don't answer the question. That was rhetorical, but you know exactly what I mean with this.
Yeah.
And if you compare it to even the stuff that we were annoyed by 10 years ago, was of a higher caliber than this, and 20 years ago was of a higher quality. And if I go today, it's god damn it,
Bon Jovi was kind of throwaway music
it
in
was
the
throwaway
80s.
music. What the hell happened?
Yeah.
God, actually, the other day I was doom scrolling on X, and looking for badass and dank memes, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I actually happen to have a very good collection, but I never show them here because it's gonna get us in big trouble.
Not the place for
Not
it.
the place for it. But I'm even considering using X for sharing them. But even that, whatever. There was a guy sharing an old piece of footage of Richie Sambora, the guitar player for Bon Jovi, being badass.
Yeah.
And they were playing Little Runaway. Such a great song.
Yes, a very good song.
Such a runaway. That's such a great track.
When it goes high in the end.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous. That's kind of like,
I won't even try.
no, he couldn't even pull it off like that.
Yeah.
But it's kind of fun. But it's the style at the time. But also, it's such a fun track. But the thing is that Richie Sambora is not renowned as a shredder because, well, he's not. And being frank, man, he was there at the same time as Eddie Van Halen. Who could beat him? Not even Amy Malmsteen had a hard time. Stick by all of the guitar gods were there. Steve Lukather. Damn it.
All the big chungos.
We got it good, man. So the thing is that it was the guy was kind of clamoring back. What happened? He was, look, this is badass, and yes, it's pop music.
Yeah.
But wow, what are these? But the thing is that the guys look badass because they were manly men doing manly things, and chicks like that because they wanna be with those guys, and guys like that because we wanna be those guys.
Nature.
And just look at what we got now as idols. And it's not me, old man, yelling at Klaus. Yes, I'm yelling not at Klaus, at everything. Because it's clear that we lost the luster. We lost as a culture the appreciation for good, badass stuff.
Yeah.
That's why the quality of wherever is popular on the radio, not even radio, wherever is now dictating the powers that be, social media, is no longer stuff that could inspire you. It's just background noise. And even this Sabrina Carpenter thing, she's not bad. I already analyzed one of her tracks. She's so.
But it's just another one
But
as
it's
well.
just another one, man. And it relies quite a lot on the burlesque aspect of the shows. No problem with that. I'm not gonna go moralistic on it because she's not going. She doesn't go that raunchy. And also she's an adult. She can do whatever she wants. Yeah, for real. I don't give a damn.
Yeah.
The issue is that if the only thing she got going for her is the show, we're in trouble, man.
Yeah.
Because at least Kiss was all about show, but
they took up the antics.
They push it to its hardest limit, and nothing but respect for the guys. So they're more. Sorry for the derail.
Going with the comments here. Robbie say, I think it's coming back to what he mentioned about the Beatles. They and other bands had to commit to sounds and setting and bounce putting multiple tracks together. I was testing in this the other day with my digital recording studio. They knew their art and craft and how to get there. The whole thing about the limitations again and the constraints, that meant you had to be good.
Yes.
Because to find solutions to the many problems that you would face on a recording or on a production, you will be able to elaborate on that. You needed to be clever.
Yeah.
First and foremost, first you needed to know what you were doing.
You gotta be ingenious.
You need to be ingenious. You need to be intelligent.
I wonder why the actual craft is called what?
Engineering, mixing engineering.
Mixing engineer.
Yes, and that meant that you needed to get out of your comfort zone and get good.
Get good.
Get good.
Yeah, because it's always a skill issue. It is.
It is.
If it sucks, it's a skill issue.
Yeah.
You suck.
So moving on to more comments. Hermaya, fake plastic trees. You got that reference? Sorry, I didn't.
No,
But I don't know if it's because we missed the context.
Yeah, bro,
of the comment.
I lost track. Sorry, man. It's because I sometimes I go full on Jones and I got lost.
New recommendation from Hermaya. Not rock this time. Roosevelt. I don't know it as.
I kind of have an idea, but I might be wrong. I will give it a try. Can you elaborate more, Jeremiah?
Yeah, and also Joss now is making a comment. They say, hey Joss, good to have you here. They say if you want to make it in the music biz, you have to sell your soul. they say Illuminati owns it all, and just by
we don't say that here. We don't say that here.
Replicating your comment now.
We don't say that here.
On a spoken format. I probably got
allegedly, yeah.
I forgot to do this.
Yeah.
It's okay.
No, but let's say that allegedly there's some form of overlord controlling, allegedly, of course, the course of culture, allegedly around the world through the use of mass media, allegedly, of course, with no proof whatsoever to what I'm saying. This is totally hypothetical, conjecture. Yeah, exactly. Allegedly, of course, wink, wink.
No, that would happen.
Yeah, of course, that would never happen.
It would never happen.
No, but I'll actually, I'm partially joking.
But look,
not on what I said, hypothetical speaking, okay?
Yeah.
It's just something to be, just for you to know, watching. Be careful. Be very careful.
Be careful. Yeah.
Be very careful with what you say online. For real, you don't know how deep this rabbit hole goes.
Well, look, trying to deviate, dodge the bullet here, we can use the
hypothetical case,
the soul selling aspect from a different angle.
Yeah, not saying that you sell it to Moloch.
No, you don't. No.
Allegedly,
I think nowadays we musicians end up falling for the trap of selling our souls to the algorithm. As the new deity of the moment.
Yes.
Because in trying to appease to the algorithm, trying to do what works, we abandon our musicality, we abandon our artistry, our soul.
Yep.
And that's it's a less dangerous topic.
No, that's actually correct because you can. That's why you see them falling for the creativity, the writer's block.
Yeah.
And that corner, they find themselves cornered because. They are trying to chase the rabbit, and the trick is that you never reach the rabbit. It's always it's an ever moving pole.
The
goalpost. Yeah, it's a lie, and the only way to pull it off is by understanding how to make the game playing according to what you do. And this is something that we're learning to do. We suck at it still. We are learning. We're being part of this, so subscribe. So that's not a great timing. No, but the thing is that we're actually learning.
Yeah.
Because this is coming from the experience that we have garnered here on YouTube, as I said several times already. We have the experience of being on the road. And we don't know what to do here. And all of the skills we developed on the road have no use here.
Yeah.
So
it's a really different
different game, and we're learning how to play it little by little, and that's why we are we found a way to reach you guys, and little by little we're expanding. We're becoming part of that totally not secret society that is content. No, allegedly, of course. No. The thing is that we are.
They're watching us.
They're watching us. Yeah, they're always watching over you. So keep yourself in check. But you can always make the thought police aware of what you think. Just be clear on how you do it.
Yeah.
But the experience that we have got out of this whole experiment, because being frank, it's been an experiment.
Yeah.
Learning how to play the game online has been a new set of skills that have been acquired. For those of you watching, you have seen the difference in quality of everything we do here. Audio hasn't never been a problem, but freaking video, goddamn. Yeah. And then optimization, goddamn, because nobody watched our videos. That's what we had to spread and create the trifecta. That is the trifold that is being followed by our initiative here. Please subscribe to our 2 channels. Please do. It's my BardonMusic production and BardonMusic music production and mixing, and BardonMusic analysis.
Yeah.
We simply divided the content that we had here into 3 because it was a mess for the algorithm. It didn't. It made sense for us, and I think for you as well. But wherever, c'est la vie, and it's not it's not a decision to be made by us.
Yeah.
So take that piece of advice. Because again, the core of these conversation is that where can music be found? Nowhere. It had to find you. Yeah. That's actually, I think, the core element to this conversation.
Yeah.
Because we live in a world in which totally, allegedly, is not being controlled by the powers that be. Yeah. Which will make sure that anything that could push people outside of the sphere, allegedly, of course, that they have over the understanding of reality, allegedly, of course. That could put at risk everything that they say, allegedly, of course, will not be promoted. So as the song says, the revolution won't be televised. So the only way to go is making sure that you are found by them. So put yourself out there. How? you got several options. If you like TikTok, do TikTok. If you like, well, there's something wrong with you first. No, of course, that was a joke. Now, if you wherever you like, we're stuck, or we decided to attack allegedly, because that's also could be problematic. I don't know. We decided to take on this conundrum using YouTube as the platform, because the one that I understood first. And it's the one that I kind of get it, because it's the one that I appreciate. The other guys I don't understand, and we're learning. We're trying to figure out that you have seen for probably moments in which we're pushing hard on Instagram, and then we stop because we're testing.
Yeah,
we are reality testing. We are learning what to do, and use these our failure. Use our failures so you don't do the same. You don't commit the same mistakes, because we truly know that there is a chance for everybody to in this world if they play the game correctly, if they learn how to do it and they take advantage of everything that is provided to everybody nowadays. Because if the core of this or the solution to this conundrum, where music can be found, and since music cannot be found, it has to find you, dude, we got the biggest and the most effective and fastest and further reaching ways of communication ever provided to humanity. And the fact that if the solution is being found, do it. You got the means.
Yeah.
The thing is how.
And look, just to bring probably the conversation to its final stages, but I think that the whole thing about being found, I feel now's the time for it as well. Now trying to put a little bit of a more hopeful note to the whole issue here, because what happens is that the monolithic structures of the industry,
the powers that be,
let's call it for whatever.
Not calling the
they pushed the good independent stuff to the sidelines, and that's where the good stuff has been for a while now. But now we're reaching a point in time where two things are happening. First, we have had time enough to begin to understand how the game is being played.
Yeah.
So people are starting to get the hang of it.
Yes.
That's factor number one. Factor number two, the monolithic structures that we consider to be unbreakable are falling apart. So this is gaining even more strength.
And just to add a little bit context to that, you see what happens right now. It's happening right now by the time of this conversation taking place to Disney with Snow White.
Yeah.
That's
who could imagine Disney going down?
Yeah.
It was impossible. It's way too. It's the kind of stuff that you think now is way too big to fail.
Especially because if you consider that they own Marvel, Star Wars, and the entirety of even Fox, I think, is part of the
group.
Yeah, they own everything. Everything entertainment is owned by them, and they are going down, man. Why? They went in one direction, and
it was not a good one.
It wasn't a good one.
Yeah.
So this is changing, and the whole paradigm is changing. You got a comment?
Okay, so Jeremiah, Coldplay got a new song that has 15 composers in it.
God damn it!
Can you imagine it? So you think, oh, must be a good one.
No.
Nope.
No, that's clearly a sign that it sucks.
No, yeah, exactly. If I'm told that a song has 15 composers, the first thing I won't think that it's gonna be good.
But you know why? There are many things that happens when that takes place when something like this happens. Right now, talking, and this is referring to what you said about the industry and the entirety of the structure kind of showing signs of not weakness, destruction, collapsing.
Yeah.
Don't you find funny that every single one of those major acts is releasing featurings, collaborations, because one of them alone is not able to pull the numbers again.
It doesn't have enough traction.
It doesn't have the traction. It doesn't have the gravitas anymore.
Yeah.
So they are trying to capitalize on the success of both AstroTurf acts, trying to pull it off again. And you see this amount of composers because everybody's claiming rights to do, because nobody's making the same amount of bucks. And allegedly, of course, those parties have they need resources to keep going, right? Those allegedly white parties, of course I'm talking about white because it happens in the middle of snow, not because of the dress code, of course, not totally with certain puffy guy, allegedly.
Many allegedly.
No, but you know what I mean. It's that there's so much. The industry became so bloated, and the fact that Coldplay, we have defended those mofos before.
Yeah.
The first two albums. From the third one onwards, they are terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why, man.
Yeah, because
No integrity.
it was mentioned here something about selling your soul. And I don't know why I think of that when I hear about Coldplay.
Agreed.
But well.
I think of Anakin Skywalker. You were chosen one.
Look, they saying, I think they put the names of whoever was just passing by the studio.
Agreed. No, it's that.
I actually don't agree, and it's worse. Because I think...
Allegedly?
No.
I'm just preventing myself.
Just that there is very little music making involved in the process of making modern music.
Mm-hmm.
Because these 15 names is marketers on a room...
Is the
brainstorming.
Is the brainstorming?
There's no music involved whatsoever.
No, it's
those 15 composers. I can be sure that at least 14 of them are marketeers, not musicians. For real.
And the 15th one is a lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. He's a copyright guy.
Yeah.
God damn, you're correct.
So Joss is in Kids is back together. For real?
It could be.
Okay. Gene Simmons announced that most of his solo 2025 tour was being postponed to 2026. I think Gene wasn't making as much money as with Kiss.
Chances are, because they announced their retirement last year.
Yeah.
With the whole Robo Kiss thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, not surprised. And the thing is that, dude, I like Kiss. I've been to their concerts. Badass. Some of the best concerts I've ever been to.
Mm-hmm.
But for how long, man?
Mm-hmm.
And this is coming from a place of respect and huge appreciation for the guys. I don't want them to stop. The thing is that it's better for you to go down the sunset.
Yeah.
In a glorious when you're at the highest,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want to see them look old.
Mm-hmm.
They don't look old. No, they are far from it yet.
Yeah.
But the more they keep doing it, they will retire at the point on which they will do it out of misery.
Yeah, not being able to
do it anymore rather than doing it at the... Yeah, because when they announced their retirement, I felt that, that's a good wave goodbye to that. Yeah. Excellent. They're coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the commitment again? With that.
And also, is it nature itself? You're supposed to begin and end, and you're gonna give space for another one to begin and end as well.
The fans loves the ending to a great tale.
Yeah.
You because when even Pink Floyd, that they had that raucous ending and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
When there was that unique moment in which the four of them reunited for one last time, that was memorable.
Yeah.
Not the best performance ever, but
it was good.
Yeah, but it was not necessarily the best, man.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless, it's not that. It's just me being the contrarian that I am.
There's a lot of feelings attached.
Yeah, feeling attached.
Yeah.
But because you can feel that they decided to just for this woman.
Yeah.
Because that's what's lacking in that performance, because they play correctly, but the chemistry is in there. But the fact that they put the effort on doing it, and it's the last time that the four of them were playing together.
Yeah.
Because a few years later, I think a year or two, Rick passed away. So I prefer to think of them like that, putting an end to having an end to the story and calling it quits, because it has to stop. They have to end. Any career has to end, even if you say that the musician experience never dies. Yes, it never dies, but the human being has to die at one point, and our reality is based on the concept of the starting and ending, and we need closure to everything we experience. That applies to music and other people's adventures as well, because you want to see Frodo come back after Mordor, right? That's why we got like 15 endings, because you need to make sure everything is wrapped up.
Yeah.
And nobody complains.
But also that comes from that connection that is kind of missing nowadays from music.
Yeah.
All the conversations we have going back to the experience of going to a bar, the shows, everything, it basically stems from the principle that you should feel connected to music. That's that's an essential part of the music experience. And it's a part of the musical experience that's being lost. Because nowadays, and in relation to the last comment of Harry Maya here, music has always been a business, yes, but I believe that today music has become only a profitable business, and that's it.
That's correct. I feel the same, because to quote once again, that phrase, that particular, it's not even a phrase, what Frank Zappa said regarding the guy with the cigar and how the music business was much more creative driven back in the day, when the capitalists were the ones actually making the decisions rather than the specialists. It always comes back. because it's totally what is going on. Before there was some form of pursuit of at least good stuff, not necessarily excellent, but every so often you got great stuff. Nowadays it's just money grabbing.
Yeah.
But once again, the solution to the conundrum on where did good music go is now on us, the musicians. The responsibility is now on. The ball is on our side. It's up to us to make sure that we are discovered by the right people. Because I can assure you, you know how my desk looks. There was a guy, and I bring him back that point because that was kind of ridiculous. That disliked one of my decorations for political reasons. That's dumb.
Yeah,
that's dumb. And that kind of attitude is starting to wane down.
Yeah,
and the more you're discovered by people who understand you, because that's the benefit of this. You don't have to be liked by everybody. You gotta be found and being appreciated for what you have to offer. And if what you got to offer is music, and the music is good, it should be your business. So stick to it. Yep. So make yourself visible. That's the point. How? Well, do everything that we haven't done.
That we're trying to and failing at.
Yeah, because at least I can tell you, don't do what we have done because it hasn't worked. But it's already paying off, of course.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you that. I'm telling you right now that the failures, but also the successes have been that big that we have allowed to keep this dubious organization going, and this dubious effort going for these last few years, because the numbers are not big, but we have got many good relationships out of this, and it's developing and it's starting to shape off into something that will allow for this act to be what it's meant to be.
Yeah, it's a road.
It's a road, and it's a long one. And somebody said that it was a long road to the top.
If you want to rock and roll.
If you want to rock and roll. Badass.
So that's going to be the closing statement then?
It would be. So what's our final comment here?
Okay, so let's get to it. Well, I have read this one.
Yes.
Robbie, to answer the question, where has good music gone to? Right down the toilet. That's very well.
But I feel you.
I genuinely feel we are at the crossroads of no return. Sorry if negative.
No.
Look, Robbie, I totally see your point. I try to keep up the spirits high, and not only I'm not deceiving myself. I do think that we are at that crossroads that you mentioned. I don't think we're incorrect, but I don't think we crossed the point of no return. And I do think we're at a turning point.
I think we already did.
Cross the Rubicon.
Yes. We've been so far from the Rubicon for years now that we don't even see that we crossed it. We can't even realize that we crossed it. I agree with what Robbie says 100%. And that's why I keep pushing the idea of being discovered. The good stuff is not found on wherever is mainstream. And the fact that Zoomers are discovering and appreciating and promoting the whole thing with live independent bands again.
Yeah, that's major.
Don't you see that there is a trend with badass music from the 70s, 80s, and 60s again? Even the 90s.
The good stuff.
God forsake. It's making a comeback somehow.
There's some good stuff.
Yeah, but man, the aesthetics. Man, we already went through the 80s revival.
Yeah.
Now
the next one. That's the next one. Be prepared. Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Mean Girls, but well, she was super hot. Alice Silverstone. Yeah, she was my crush when I was a kid. But wherever.
We don't need the details.
But she's beautiful.
Regardless.
Wherever. Yes, I think the whole thing went through the toilet. I agree with 100%. But if people like PewDiePie, Mr. Beast, all of the YouTubers, all of the influencers became cultural icons, that means that that's the way to do it. Because it works for a reason. It resonates, it talks to the people, and you go straight, no middleman. If you want to get good music become great again, and if you want to make popular music adapt itself to a much better cultural aspect, zeitgeist, the way to do is being found. And how can you be found? The same way as those guys became the behemoth that they are now. So go first as an influencer. See yourself as an influencer who happen to have the gimmick of music. I'm saying it straight away, okay?
Yeah.
No feelings attached, because I'm not referring to music as being gimmicky. What I'm saying is that what makes you different is that you're the influencer, the YouTuber, the whatever, who happens to be a musician, and that would make you attractive, because the whole point is for people to realize that they can make a connection with you. and this is something that I learned as a con artist myself, you don't sell stuff to people. People buy from you. Very big distinction. And when you make yourself put yourself in such a high pedestal on their side, they will gladly buy from you. So offer first. I know that you're gonna have to do it at a loss for a while. Yeah, I have run several business. Some of them failed. Of course, that's how a business works. Most of them are gonna fail, but the ones that work, they stick around and they actually allow you to keep up with your or dubious ventures. So you gotta. I always have promoted the idea of looking at a band as a business and running it as a business, because that's the way it can become successful in this day and age. Because I agree with Robbie, music went down the toilet. I agree 100%. And I'm not being hopeful. I understood, and I am so freaking aware of how bad the things are, the situation is, that the solution is going Raymond Guard.
Yeah.
Flank them. Attack it from the other side, man. Because if you go full on, you die.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say on this matter is that I think all pissed offness is well justified and some.
Yeah.
But I think we should try to channel that anger that is very well justified.
We gotta point it at the tribe.
No, we gotta turn it into what can we do with it.
Okay. Yeah.
Because there's let me try to end it on a hopeful note. Come on.
Well, there's still another comment that could be hopeful.
No, it is not. No, it is not.
Okay.
But I'm gonna use this as a segue for a potential next episode.
Okay.
But look, I think the fact that we are angry, all of us participating in this conversation,
nobody's happy.
As a very slim portion of all of the angry people in the world, means that there's a resonance there in not accepting things as they are, and that can be very powerful. That can be cathartic.
It is already.
So that's my hopeful tone to this is that we should be angry towards a goal.
Yeah, we should have.
So now it's time to get that anger and use it for good.
Yes.
And be angry in a way that you're not gonna listen to the crap that they throw at you.
Yeah.
Be angry that you're gonna make good music yourself.
Yes.
And you're gonna find a way to make that music listened by other people.
Yeah.
So all of that anger can be used for good purposes.
I agree, because if you wanna stick it to the man, make yourself successful. Actually.
Yeah.
Don't let them make you turn you gay, fat, and poor. Be totally the opposite, because that's the way to stick to the man, because they want you to fail at life. So allegedly.
So look, last comment by Joss. He's saying, I think it's relating to what was being said about Kiss.
Okay.
I think the problem is musicians are very narcissistic.
Good point.
And need that applause and attention, and that's why they never retire. It's hard to retire.
I agree.
I would even say that I'm not because I want to end the show, but I think this should be a topic for an episode.
Let's hit that next week.
Yeah.
Because that's actually a good point. There was a fine comment by Robbie.
Feed the anger. Great chat, guys.
Great. It is. That's the whole point. If I can give you a piece of advice, be angry, and his advice would be do something with that anger.
Yeah.
So with that note, if you want to support the channel, listen to music on Apple Music or Spotify, and also by following us on social media such as Instagram and X, so you can learn what not to do as a musician in order to succeed in this tumultuous time.
Yes.
So if you want to support this channel, like, subscribe, ring that freaking bell, because subscribing does nothing, and liking does even less. So please do all of the shebang. And as every single time we meet you, we remind you that you should never let anybody tell you what to dream about. And as every single time, we will see you. We will see you.